Have you ever found a dusty old bottle of wine and wondered what's going on in there? How does a simple, fruity drink turn into something else? Something complex and amazing? Well, it's not magic. It's actually a slow, pretty fascinating chemical dance. So let's uncork the secrets of aging wine together. Okay, first things first, let's just get this out of the way. We need to bust the biggest myth out there. Is older wine always better? The answer, and this might surprise you, is a big, fat no. Actually, over 90% of all the wine made in the world is meant to be enjoyed young and fresh, usually within a year or so. Only a tiny, tiny fraction is actually built for the long haul. But for those special wines that can age, oh man, the transformation is just profound. A young wine, it just bursts with what we call primary aromas, fresh cherries, zesty citrus, that kind of thing. But give it time and a remarkable change starts to happen. Those sharp tannins, that grippy feeling, they soften up. And that simple fruitiness, it deepens into this incredible bouquet of what are called tertiary aromas. Now we're talking about things like leather, damp earth, tobacco, maybe some dried figs. It's really a journey from being bright and loud to subtle and wise. So if only a select few wines are destined for this kind of greatness, what gives them this aging superpower? What's the secret formula? Well, it all comes down to the wine's internal structure. Its anatomy of longevity, if you will. The first key player here is tannin. You ever have a big red wine and feel that dry, kind of grippy sensation on your tongue and gums? Yeah, that's tannin. These things come from the grape skins, the seeds, even the stems, and they basically provide the wine's structural skeleton. But what's really crucial is that they're also natural antioxidants. They act like little bodyguards, protecting the wine from oxygen over many, many years. All right, next up, acidity. So if tannins are the skeleton, you can think of acidity as the wine's lifeblood. It's what makes your mouth water. It's what keeps a wine feeling fresh and zesty and alive. And just like tannins, acidity is a really powerful preservative. It slows everything down and makes sure the wine doesn't just get flat and tired over the years. And then, for a special category of wines, we have sugar. In really high concentrations, sugar is an incredible preservative. I mean, it's why things like a vintage port from Portugal or a Sauternes from France can be some of the longest-lived wines on the planet. We're talking wines that can age gracefully for a century, or even more. Okay, so let's say a wine has the right stuff inside. Plenty of tannin, lots of acidity. But that's really only half the battle. To let it evolve the way it's supposed to, you have to give it the perfect hideout. And that brings us to the absolutely crucial topic of storage. To protect your wine, you basically need to defeat its 4 mortal enemies. First, heat. Heat is public enemy number 1. It will literally cook your wine. Then there's light, especially UV rays, which can degrade it. Constant vibration is a no-no too. It just disturbs all those slow chemical reactions. And finally, dry air, which can shrink the cork and let in that ultimate villain, oxygen. So the most important thing to remember here is consistency. While around 13 degrees Celsius or 55 Fahrenheit is kind of the bullseye, what's even more important is keeping that temperature stable. Big temperature swings make the wine expand and contract in the bottle, and that can push the cork out and ruin the seal. A steady, cool temperature is absolutely key. Next up is humidity, and the sweet spot is right around 70%. Now, why does this matter? Well, it's all about protecting the cork. Remember, a cork is just a piece of wood. If the air gets too dry, that cork is going to shrink and it won't seal the bottle properly. That basically creates a little highway for oxygen to get in, and that's game over. So 70% humidity keeps that cork plump, tight, and doing its job. And that brings us to maybe the simplest rule of them all. Always store your bottles on their side, lying them down horizontally. This one little action keeps the wine touching the inside of the cork, which makes sure it never dries out from the inside. It's such an easy, low-tech solution to what could be a very expensive problem. Whew, okay, now that we know the what and the how, let's talk about the where. Let's go on a quick little world tour of some of the classic spots that produce these special, long-lived wines. You can think of this as a bit of a treasure map for wine lovers. You've got the powerful tannin-heavy Cabernet Sauvignon blends from places like Bordeaux in France and Napa Valley in the US. You've got the super elegant, high-acid Pinot Noirs from Burgundy. And you definitely can't forget the famously structured Nebbiolo grape from Italy's Barolo region. They say it smells like tar and roses. I mean, these are the world's classic agers. So,
After years, maybe even decades of waiting patiently, the moment of truth finally arrives. You've protected this bottle, you've let it sleep, and now it is time for the grand reveal. Now, this isn't just about popping a cork. It's a ritual. First, you need to stand the bottle upright for at least a few hours, maybe even a day for really old wines, to let all that natural sediment fall to the bottom. Then you open it very carefully because that cork might be pretty fragile. And finally, you decant. This is so important. You slowly pour the wine into another container, leaving that gritty sediment behind and, just as importantly, letting the wine breathe after being cooped up for so long. So what do you get for all that patience? Well, the transformation in the glass is just astonishing. Those fresh berry flavors of its youth, they've deepened into these notes of dried fig and prune. Those bright floral scents have given way to earthy aromas like mushrooms or a walk through a damp forest. It's not simple anymore. It's this complex tapestry of leather, sweet tobacco, and cedar. You are quite literally tasting time itself. And ultimately, this is why we do it. It's not just about the chemistry or about collecting. Sharing an aged wine is about sharing a piece of history. It connects us to a specific year, a place, and the people we're with in that moment. So the next time you see a dusty old bottle, don't just see old wine. See a story that's just waiting to be told, a time capsule waiting to be opened. The only real question is, what memory are you going to create with it?